One. Hey guys, this is Dardamos with Dardamos Dominions, and I'm here with a couple co-hosts. Say hi, General Confusion.
Howdy, howdy.
Novell, good to have you with us again.
Always happy to be here.
And Mian, you're becoming a regular.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so I've got a couple messages from players, and hopefully they're not novels like last time. Oh, speaking of not novels, GC, do you want to read this for us?
So much for Elephant. What happened?
That doesn't
what
sound
what
good.
Do you do? So much for Elephant Expansion. Elephant Expansion is always kind of a risk, because even though Machaka's elephants have higher morale than most, they can still just fucking decide to turn around and trample you. So
Do you use Elephant Expansion, GC?
I do, but if you're gonna do that, you have to have at least 5 in a group. Because if you have fewer than 5 units in a squad, they start taking morale checks as soon as they start taking damage.
Yeah, one workaround you can do for that is you can put other trash in the squad with them. And even though it lags behind, it still counts as part of the squad.
That's true. There's ways to get around it, but really I would prefer not to attack a significant indie province with elephants unless I had 5 of them in a squad. So 2 turns of recruitment.
I think that he's gonna actually do an Elephant Expand right away. We haven't seen it yet, but I think he was saying the indies aren't right for it. I'm looking forward to seeing it because I hate Elephant Expands. I think they don't work. I think that they're, a trap and that you're gonna end up dying. You always die.
You can. I've gotten over 20 provinces with Scales Elephant Expansion as nations like Baratos, but you really have to pick your targets carefully when you're using them and not take them into the wrong situations. It's a little bit finesse.
Hey gents, can I hop in on the elephant thing?
Yeah, please do.
Absolutely.
The new elephants after I don't even know if it's a buff or a bug fix. The ones with 18 prot in LA, those are actually phenomenal for expanding.
Well, yeah, because they have 18 prot, but Machakan elephants don't. If Machakan elephants got 18 prot, who baby?
Oh well, LA Machaka.
What they need to do is armor the elephants with their big.
Exactly.
Hey, Balin, how are you doing, dude?
Back to armoring those elephants. Just sew a whole bunch of line pelts together. That shit is amazing.
Right?
Oh, sweet heavens! Oh my!
Jesus Christ!
Okay. Okay. For those at home, please pause the video right now and read this because does anybody want to skim this and kind of give the highlights?
He found crystal Amazons.
These stats are not Jade Amazons.
That's basically what's important here.
That first paragraph is about the indies.
So he says it's a free cap circle, but not a lot of money.
And he's poor. That's what he says.
Okay, that's it. Okay, good. Okay, Uvar. Frost weapons less?
Yeah.
Do you guys think that this is going to happen? Novell, do you
If
think
it exists, it's going to be great against Uvar.
Yeah, that's really good against them.
Wait, what do you mean by that? I'm sorry. What do you mean that it's very good against Uvar?
Jin are weak to cold.
Oh, are they? Really nice.
Yeah, they have cold vulnerability like Jotunheim has shock vulnerability.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Vernie guessed what my profit and he was going to be with him. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is when we get done with this, tell me some of the ones that you want to look at, and then we'll go look at those ones. So,
we go back one and we can look at Arcos Bless.
Can we see Arcos Bless from this?
That Myrmidon's the prophet.
I'm kind of curious.
No other reason why it should have kills.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so we have
Stats. Reconstruction? Yeah. Why does he have
reinvigorate? What?
Why reconstruction? Reinvig makes more sense than reconstruction.
Yeah, guys, I think he just misclicked when he was building his pretender.
An extra morale path? What?
Okay, so this is a rainbow, except he's taken a whole bunch. Okay, so because reconstruction is like a 2-point Earth Bless, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2 points.
But it's a very niche, useless bless.
Right. Well, no, that's not what I'm getting at. Reconstruction is 2 Earth points. Reinvigoration +1 is also 2 Earth points. Then if he can't have taken FSR because that would be another 5 Earth on top of that. So this must be air, fire, astral, earth.
He has
And death.
incarnate.
Hmm?
He has incarnate. Because that's undying plus 6, which is 3 death.
Okay, but my point is, if he took reconstruction and reinvigoration and FSR, that's E9.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably took air and fire separate for that.
So he took a
But-
really wide, weird rainbow with like.
That's a lot of fire too, though.
Yeah, because morale is a fire blast. Fire resistance 10 is fire 4. Wait, hold
Does
up.
he have undead leadership? Click on the Myrmidon again. Get off the bless.
Yeah.
He does
No.
not.
Yeah, so he has an incarnate death plus.
So he has undying plus 6, which is death 3.
I mean,
He's
that
got-
means minimum his pretender has death 8. If there's
Did he
an
take
incarnate blow.
death weapons?
No, he doesn't have death.
Well, no,
doesn't
he has
have to have
undying
death.
plus 6.
Okay,
So
but
he
undying,
has 3
undying plus
points.
6 is only 3 points of death. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah, yeah.
getting. He has to be getting some source of that, which means either he rainbowed, which there's no evidence of, or he has an incarnate death that's
Does
not
he have
showing
spirit
up yet.
sight? Does he have spirit sight?
No.
That won't be listed here.
Oh, okay. Well, let's
Well,
see.
No, Mike.
Oh,
There it
yeah,
is.
he does.
Okay,
There
all
it
right.
is.
There we go.
Okay, he does have spirit sight. So he has death 4,
Astral 5.
earth. What is that? That's reinvigoration, reconstruction is earth 4.
Earth 4.
Fire,
4.
shock 4, air 4. Wow, that's weird.
I'm confused on so many levels. Well, we're
This
just
was
gonna
my
accept it and
favorite
move on.
interview. I'm not gonna say anything because I want to make this a surprise for you guys. It was unique, and I think it might work, and it was really fun for me to talk to him about this. However,
Is this a Juggernaut bus?
what I do want to kind of focus on is how much do you think this is going to help his sacred?
I mean, not much.
Not
as
at all.
much- not nearly as much as it could. Like shock resistance, fire resistance, magic weapons, undying. Okay, those are all like decent things individually, but EA Arco's sacreds are flying high defense cavalry. They're like elf light. This is not an elf light bless. This doesn't build on their strengths.
The only thing this really helps against is Ubar, because you use Spirit Sight and Magic Weapon, so you can hit them. That's
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he has a
and-
counter against that.
Actually, hold up. No. That's an Ubar killing bless. You have fire resist, shock resist, spirit sight, and magic weapons. That is specifically designed to kill Jin.
yeah, that's true. All of that would work well against Ubar's paths and their
Right.
units.
Another thing to consider, though, is that bless may not be built for troops. It may be built for mages.
Yeah, but what
yeah.
would the point of building a thug bless on EA Arco be? Like, are you going to thug with Oriads?
There's not really anything in Arco's lineup that screams, "Hey, thug me, please."
Yeah, no.
I mean,
He
it looks
lost
to me.
Mercs in a cave.
I mean, it looks to me like it's a bless designed to rush Ubar. Really
Well,
does.
I mean, I just want to point out some options available because of that bless. He can safely use Wrathful Skies without worrying about killing his sacred mages.
That's true.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that that's what he's going to do, but there are some utilities to be had, especially depending on what that bless is built on, what the chassis for it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just an imprisoned human, because there's no way he got those paths on a Titan. Though his scales are kind of trash, so that might work too.
So I don't want to give too much away with what's happening to him, but let's move on before and see what happens here. I'm kind of curious as to this point. We know that this group loses. Why would this lose? Like, I mean, you can already see they're taking damage. Why does this
Never
lose?
fight Kooni in a cave with Mercs.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
go on
it's-
to that. Why?
Because those Mercs don't have magic weapons, and if a Kooni hits that spearman dies, and Kooni have second ghost forms that those spearmen struggle to hit.
And they're taking stat penalties on top of that, right? The
Yeah, the
regular human
spearmen,
troops.
spearmen have 8 attack.
That's nuts. So as they die, they pretty much become invulnerable. They almost become like Gyarados' troops.
That
Yes.
The Konis are literally Yomi's respawn.
That's nuts. Okay. So Arco, so Arco ended up let's see, so Arco face planted, and then War Elephants. Okay, so I want to see this one because
We also see Machaka's blessed with this one, I believe.
we should. You're right.
Rhino Clan is mixed in with the Machakan Spears.
Okay, you're right. Sorry. Okay, GC, this is your nation. What do you think?
So this is actually a Lion Warrior bless. Lion Warriors are like pretty decent, but they're not really good enough stat wise to justify their cost. So what this bless is doing is this bless is making them good enough to buy because they cost 40 gold each. But with attack skill, that's actually a lot of defense skill. That's water 6, which is unusual, I would say.
No,
No,
that's,
he's using
that's
swiftness.
water
No.
3 and swiftness.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
because they have cut the combat.
3
speed.
air, 3 water.
Okay, so yeah, so this is an elemental. This is actually a full rainbow build, is what this is.
No.
I'm not sure what he spent the nature on, but it looks like he put 3 points in every path.
No, with the
nature
No,
might
yeah,
be
he put
incarnate.
a 3 in each elemental, 4 in astral, and 4 in blood.
Yeah,
What is the-
nature might be incarnate, potentially berserk.
That would do. But so what this is doing is, especially with the blood surge when that activates, because Lion Warriors hit really hard. So with the attack skill, they're likely to get a hit off. They're likely to kill someone with it because it's a 2-handed bludgeoning weapon in giant hands with a strength bonus. Then their blood surge activates and they get another +3 and become even deadlier.
So you're
that's
talking
designed.
these guys, right? They're like
Yeah, these
27
guys
and-
right here. So with the bonuses, they have attack 14, strength 17, which means their spirit club is hitting for about 30 damage. And their defense is 14, which isn't bad. Then the blood surge turns on, their damage goes up by another 4 or 5 points, and their attack increases. It makes Lion Warriors really, really good at killing giants and thugs.
With the blood surge activated, they're hitting about 37-ish damage.
Oh my goodness. It's nuts. Do you think that would you go into an expand with the sacreds at this point, or would you stick with elf?
You probably could expand with Sacreds with that bless. The problem with expanding with Lion Warriors is that Lion Warriors are a little bit fragile because they only have 15 prot, which in EA is pretty respectable, but objectively isn't enough to save them from like just chip damage. So you will lose them, especially if you're using small groups. So if you want to expand with Lion Warriors, you really have to have like 6 to 10 of them plus some chaff.
Okay, are we gonna see his bless? His bless here? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so he brought his because this is his scout, correct?
Yes.
Okay, why did he bring his scout into the battle and not prioritize his other dude? Does anybody know?
Because he's Kirby, and this is what Kirby does.
Fair
I would,
enough.
I would assume he just wanted to keep open the option. He doesn't. He has an bless. Oh,
So
yeah, he's Ubar,
Kirby's
of course he
played
does.
Ubar a lot, and he normally does it like this, no bless.
Well,
What do you
he's
guys
Ubar.
think
His
about a
god-
no bless? Like, is that
Wait,
is that worth
no,
it, or
hold
what?
on. He's Ubar. His god cannot be awake.
Yes, but he will most likely not have a bless because Kirby, and this is what he does for Ubar.
What are his scales? Like?
Interesting.
He should have growth 0 because Ubar gets growth 3 for free in his cap turn 12.
Okay, but wait, hold up. If he has no bless and he's not taking full scales, then where are his points going?
Into
No,
a
he takes
big
full
baller super combatant. And he'll have every
I-
other skill maxed, but growth.
I think that is correct. I think he has no bless. I could be misremembering, but I think that he actually went no bless, which was really
Okay.
it bothered me a little, but because I don't like no bless. And the reason why I'm kind of I want to hold some secrets but tell you guys other ones because what do you guys think about taking no bless?
I feel like the cost of getting just to level 4, even on a Dormant Titan, is usually worth the scales that you're dropping for it, which won't be much if you're just getting a minimal bless that's dormant that allows you to get it right away.
I mean, GC, I'm with you. Like, I'd be looking at it and being like, why wouldn't he take a bless? It seems fairly
So-
obvious.
if I was playing Ubar, and full disclosure, I actually haven't played Ubar in a multiplayer game yet.
Neither
But
have I.
if I was playing Ubar, my immediate inclination would be to take like a dormant stat bless, one that's not very expensive. Now the countervailing kind of the counterweighting opinion here is Ubar's sacred high value stuff is really expensive. So if you dump all those points into scales instead, you might be able to make up for not having highly blessed sacred guys by just having more of them and having more infrastructure, which I think is a totally valid way to play it.
It looks like
yeah.
he almost went full scale. Like he's even got growth on it.
So he's
So,
got growth
what-
1, max magic, which is a really good idea.
Yeah.
Luck, productivity, order. Yeah, okay, so he went high scales instead of having a bless, which, all right, I can see it.
Balin, why do you think that this will work for him?
Jin Warriors are the best non-sacred unit in EA, so yeah, this will work perfectly for him.
Okay, I think that we should look into the Jin Warriors in later turns just to spread out some of the conversation, but yeah, they eat things. Okay, so the next one is Helheim.
I'm going to be real sad with this Helheim bless.
This is just Helheim doing Helheim things.
Okay, Balin, this is your
Real
nation.
sad with this Helheim bless.
Give it to me, Balin. Tell me what you think.
Okay, to start off, he's got no cold resistance. He went a rainbow stats boost, so he's not going to die to foul vapors. And he doesn't have enough attack skill to ignore fire elementals. Literally, this is asking to have a wall of fire elementals thrown at you and just die to that.
But he's got the fire resist 5. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but it might be enough.
It's not enough.
It's enough to die to fire elementals a little more slowly, but not enough to not die.
Yeah, and you'll
What do
take
you-
a couple extra ones out too, because you have magic weapons, but they'll still be a big problem.
What do you need in order to deal with fire elementals?
15.
You need at least 15 to deal with them? That's like
Or
that
10
takes
and
like
a lot of
more-
prot. Like a lot of prot plus 10 is okay too, but yeah, 15.
So the reason why fire elementals are so good against elves, to be clear, is because they have a high fire shield rating. So every time your elves hit them, they automatically get hit with a bunch of armor-piercing damage.
Oh, this hoof attack too.
Right, the length 0 hoof attack. Fire shield is reduced by the length of the weapon. Hooves reduce the damage by 0 because they are length 0. So that negates all of the elven layers of defense. Like, it bypasses defense because you made the attack and automatically get hit. I believe it bypasses the glamour, and it's a magic weapon, so even if you cast Mist Form or Fog Warders or something, it bypasses that. So it really screws elves up to be attacking into Fire Shield.
Which nations can actually do the fire attacks?
Yomi, Ubar, Machaka,
Arco
can do it.
and Helheim can both do it.
Okay, but like Helheim, but he's Helheim. Now, how many of these could actually send out a large number of fire elementals enough to? Because I mean, if you got like 2 fire elementals and a pile of your sacreds, they're gonna kill the fire elementals so quickly they might end up taking damage on each of them. But they also that critical mass hasn't hit.
So the nations that will be able to beat elves just by spamming fire elementals at them are Arco, Machaka, Yomi, and Ubar.
Okay, what's interesting?
Those two.
He's sitting here. So Ubar is a no, that's not right. Sorry. So Arco's a threat to him. He's got Yomi here. He's got Pan over here. Marverni is up here. So as long as he goes to the north and is able to, and then remember Yomi can't get here because this is a river crossing.
Right.
So he's safe from Yomi. The only one he's got to worry about is Arco. Are they able to? I mean, are they going to go fire elemental spam from the beginning?
I get Con 3 early, Conjuration 3 early on a whole bunch of nations. I'm not sure Arco will get it early, but he could. He could also just get Thaumaturgy 2 and just mind burn Helheim
That would be
into
my
the
worry.
ground.
Yeah,
And
and I mean that fire resistance doesn't help you against that.
okay, so let me see real quick. Does he have? He does not have MR either, which
Nope.
is really
No,
interesting.
this is almost the bog standard elf bless that does not do well against things that will hit it.
Now you said it's a standard bless, but you also say that Helheim wins fairly often. Does it? Seems like the standard bless might be the way to go.
Helheim wins fairly often due to the air death cross path, not due to that bless.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at the Therados bless now. I hope that we get to see it. There we go. See? And I got Novella. I skipped the Maverni or the other attackers for this one. What do you think, dude?
Yeah, let's see here. Uh, So the thing about Therados is that its bless doesn't need elemental resistances, with perhaps the exception of poison resistance, but that too doesn't really necessarily need to be done. So I would not have recommended this bless. So all of Therados's nature mages gain access to elemental fortitude at alteration 4, which gives them 5 in all base resistances, except for poison. And if they're going up to enchantment 5 for foul vapors, right before it is poison ward, which is enough to cover their entire mage line. It's an AoE 25 poison resistant spell. So between those two things, Therados has a very easy time covering all of its elemental resistances. So I feel like this overly protection against elements isn't really necessary for them. And in fact, perhaps if you were going to be planning on thugging the Melinas, you would have wanted to turn all of this into actual combat buffs instead. Attack skill, defense skill, swiftness, additional HP. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. There's a lot of wiggle room you could do for Therados, but I don't think that you need anything like this amount of heavy resistance.
There's one thing on it I want to point out.
What's that?
Therados does not need poison resistance on their bless at all, ever. They're sacred mages, except for the dwarf, who can craft himself an item. They all have nature 1. With nature 1, you can cast one spell to get 25 poison resistance.
Yeah, and in that exact same path, they can cast Elemental Fortitude and get enough to avoid all the additional effects that come from elements. So 5 fire resistance will prevent heat aura, 5 cold will prevent cold aura, and 5 shock will prevent most stun damage from spells that have large AoE stun effects attached to them.
So the interesting fact about 25, he's actually still takes damage from the big air evo that everyone's afraid of. I forget what it's called.
Thunderstrike.
Lightning? Thunderstrike. Yeah, Thunderstrike still gets through that.
Now, Raffle Skies will not. It's only 15 AN, but
Right.
the big evocation will, yeah.
So
What's
I mean,
interesting is like that's a. I'm sorry. Go ahead, GT.
So what that bless is, and I know because I've done blesses like that before, that is a bless designed to let you take a thug solo into an army and win. Now, I'm not sure that works with Melias, but that's the kind of bless that you might take on, for example, Phlegron Tyrants that you intend to send out solo with a bottle of holy, with a shroud on them. Because if they have a bless like that and they have their native high HP pool and they can cast spells like Temper Flesh and Iron Skin and Phoenix Pyre, they can just run face first into an army and win by not dying. I don't know that that works on Melias because Melias are natively a lot more fragile than those kinds of big beefy chassis. But that's what that bless is for.
No,
And I
Novell.
can
They
tell
do
you
have.
it doesn't really work well on pelts either, because they're small and squishy.
Novell.
So-
They do have a super combatant chassis linked to Conjuration, correct?
Yes, for 69 water gems, they gain access to a summonable Tail King, but it is
Nice.
not sacred. It cannot hold your bless unless you equip it with the astral. The
Shroud.
Yeah, the astral shroud, the astral construction item.
Yeah, the shroud. The shroud of the battle saint. What do you think that might be worth it, or do you think that they actually need the armor?
I do it all the time when I have astral on Therados, for the specific reason that the Telkeen is guaranteed to have at least 3 Earth, so at least 2 Earth, so it can always increase its own prot. So it doesn't necessarily need high armor, and at that stage of the game, most things will find a way past armor anyway. So putting that bless on them through the shroud could be valuable, but it's such a late game interaction. And if you're planning on really pushing out for an early war with Therados, you're going to need something that buffs up your Melina thugs for raiding, or increases your casting capability, perhaps, or it's built to buff the Telkeen himself. Like, that bless is fine if you're planning on using your Telkeen as a super combat, if you took the Telkeen perhaps dormant.
Okay,
Well,
so this is really interesting. He pinged a militia light infantry archer province, which I thought was really unusual because this doesn't scream to me, I need to be pinged. The heavy cav one screams, I need to be pinged. Do you think this was a misclick?
No, because he set it to retreat.
That's true.
Sometimes people will ping provinces in their cap circle to see if they're expandable. Sometimes a province will say 100 light infantry militia archers one turn, and then 25 the next turn, and you want to figure out which side of the end is that closer to.
Well, I mean, I was watching my wife expanding yesterday, and she said that we had a province that had like 3 guys in it. She's like, "Oh, it'll be an easy province," and I said, make sure you ping it first.
That province
What's that, sorry?
said 9 cloud mages in it. I just killed 8 of them the turn before.
Oh, well, I thank you, because, there was only one left, and it was really easy to take.
You can, with scouting reports, exactly like you're seeing here, get cloud mages that can clear your army out pretty much. It's not common, but
That's what happened.
Army.
The cloud mages literally were glamored. We couldn't see them, and Valen, I think you lost an entire expansion party to it. And I mean,
I lost 5 sacred cav for about 45 things. The only reason I lost is because they lightning the commander.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, there's a variant that's Air 6 and summons like Phantasmal Army a couple times.
That one's awful.
Yeah, and there's just no seeing it in advance unless you ping it. But I don't think it's worth, from a cost proposition, pinging every province, hoping that you don't get this one unique province type.
I wondered if he's doing it here.
But he's probably going to want to expand south towards the coast because everyone knows where Therados is, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mian, this one is yours. What do you think about this this group of this expansion party? Is this?
Well, I mean, with your starting army, you want to take what you can get with it. Just pick a relatively easy province and clear it for money and resources as soon as you can.
So with Yomi has a terrible expansion party. These guys seem to always die. But we just saw these Kooni wreck face. Why is it that they die so easily here, but in the other one we saw them just get wrecked?
Well, a lot of it comes down to DRN from being in a cave versus not. The Kooni in a cave are awful to go against if you don't have, it's something that lets you see in the dark, like dark vision or spirit sight or just being a blind fighter, anything like that. Darkness significantly reduces your stats, and a stat of like -4, you hit much less frequently. You can see on the wiki, there's a DRN table, what your odds are for, differences in attack versus defense on either side. But the gist of it is when your attack is like 7 and their defense is 13 still, you're not going to hit very frequently, and they're going to hit you a lot. Okay. So they're pretty dangerous in there. But in the daylight, that's not so much. They can still do some work, but not against anything too challenging.
Okay, so let's look at his bless and see what he's got. It should be fairly obvious. What do you think about this, Ian, for the Yomi bless?
I do like the Reinvig and Regen. Both of those really helped Ione a lot, just in the expansion phase. Shock resistance is probably a good idea, especially in a game like this. I don't know about defense skill. Attack skill, you can get some repels off it. So if you're going for a repel rather than going for a bigger bless, you can make that work.
I'm pretty sure he's got he in fire, air, water, and earth, and he took mountain survival as the other one.
I
Yeah,
think
sounds
you're. I
about
think you're right.
Instead of taking more strength, he took revig and mountain survival.
Reinvig is nice because the Dione starting armor is a lot of encumbrance, and so like having that Reinvig, you can get yourself fatigue neutral or positive if you've got summon Earth power as well.
Well, while you're not wrong, every Dione can cast Soul Vortex later, so fatigue doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you if you're playing Omi, you're playing for early game. Like you want to expand a lot, and you want somebody, you want somebody to have a bad day before year 3, not waiting until you have Soul Vortex to make your guys good. Like you want them to just out of the box and start crushing people, or at least crushing indies.
It's a long way to alt 7 for Yomi.
Yeah, Yomi is not a fast research nation. Now, if you like take a couple capitals and aren't punished for that by a huge coalition, then okay, you can research well, and you can do some foreign recruitment stuff too. But you're not getting deep tech quickly. You're going to be on the bottom half of the research board unless everybody else is doing something weird.
So it wouldn't surprise me if he takes basically 0 losses in this battle, because he's fighting awful troops with troops that have to die twice to die.
Yeah.
What I love about like as a Yomi expand, you actually use your commander to attack. Like this is stressful to me. I mean, you're a DRN away from a very bad day.
No, it's an Oni. You're 2 bad DRN away from a bad day, which is very unlikely.
Yeah, you've got pretty good stats on that thing. So if you're picking your provinces carefully, you're not rolling the dice that hard compared to anybody else.
Yeah,
as long as you don't take the heavy lance charge to the face 3 times, that Onishugo will be fine.
Yeah, and Onishugo is a pretty tough customer, so it's not a big deal, to be honest. And that Onishugo is a lot of the combat power of this expansion party, because it's made up of 25 trash and an Onishugo.
Yeah,
I agree. But you're 1 bad pick away from losing your mage and your expansion party.
Yeah, well, live fast, die young.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen that expansion
party. Larger Boar Warrior stuff.
Okay, this is where I'm really interested in seeing what his bless is. Okay, so we've got a very basic bless. Is this going to be it? Zan, you're on this one. What do you think, Marverni? Is this going to be all his bless is, or are we waiting for more?
There has to be more. Actually, no. There is absolutely more because no, you can fit that because larger's Earth and it doesn't need Incarnate or any of that.
You can get a good picture too by looking at the scales if there's more going on.
Okay, is that going to help him
with Epony Knights though?
What's that, sorry?
I'm loving the fact that he made Epony Knights. It's a really nice troop.
Mm-hmm.
I think these guys are the way that you expand this nation. I did a bunch of expansion getting ready for. I thought I was going to actually use these guys at one point. And these were the guys that I really liked using the most. You want to go into why, Balin? Why are these guys so good?
They have 13 protection, which, let's be honest, for EA, that's pretty good. If we exclude the fact that Yomi exists and has native 21 prot things. They also have very nice defense skill and a shield. And they only have 1 attack, but they also throw a javelin right before they hit with their sword.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. I'm going to give this one to you again, Zan, since Marverni was kind of a little boring. And what I like is that Pan has done a double expand. He's actually split up his crappy starting party. So, let me see. Actually, bless. Okay. I think he missed the bless again. I don't know. Okay, Zan, what do you think?
I dig it. A lot of attack skill is going to help him repel and obviously hit hard because White Centaurs hit hard, especially when they berserk. Larger is going to make... They're going to take a little bit more hits because they're less to a square, but it helps them repel. I think that makes them size 4, and that gives them an extra length to their spear, so now they can repel spearmen. Boosted with that extra attack skill is good, gives them more strength, so they hit harder. I'd take this, for sure.
Okay, so
Blood Surge will
he
push up that repelling even further too.
Oh
So that's
boy.
pretty nice.
is
Yep,
at
I would.
18.
Yep, that's a great unit to me. And
He also has like Berserk 5, I think, is that's what White Centaur.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great unit.
Has any of these guys gone? Has this guy gone berserk? Let me see if any of them have gone berserk. Because I'm kind of curious as to. Oh wait, he should have.
Yeah.
Oh no,
that's
it's
Berserk.
it's a berserk is it's how
a
do
morale.
they go berserk?
They needed
To
to get
go berserk,
Berserk is
you-
being hit, and it's a morale roll.
but
Yeah, but
these
you have
guys
to-
are repelling everything or
Okay,
dodging
GC,
it.
what were
with
you saying?
17%.
In order to go berserk, you have to fail the morale check.
You have to fail the morale check. So high morale is actually bad.
Correct. High morale units go berserk less.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a very easy roll to fail.
For expansion parties, because we're talking about Yomi's expansion party, where would you rank this expansion party in like better to worse? Novell, what do you think about this expansion party? Is it something that you're like, oh yeah, I started with with Pan's expansion party, or would you rather have something else? Novell, are you there, dude?
So I actually have to step away to take a phone call. I just got back.
No problem, dude. Sorry about that. Okay, so the
No,
question was, if you could pick between expansion parties, would Pangea be one of your top picks?
As a nation that's really good for expanding with, yeah, Pangea would be at the very top.
No, I mean they're starting. Like this party that you're seeing on the screen right here.
The Satyrs?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Okay, why not?
So there's two things about those guys. They have better than human stats, which is good. They have higher HP, good combat skills. The shield's really nice. But overall, their prot's really low, and the morale's not too high either. So it only takes a few bad hits for them to die, and then basically fail a morale check and leave. So they're not exactly the best.
Okay, so heavy infantry and slingers. Luckily, there were no elephants. GC, would you say this was a risky move, or do you think this is the way to go?
Not particularly. I mean, if there are elephants, you're almost always going to scouting report because they're huge, and scout reports specifically call out large units. So, I mean, against heavy infantry and slingers, satyrs work fine.
Now, theoretically, if he saw the 20 and there were actually 40, would he have been in trouble then?
100%.
Yeah, if there had been 40, he might have lost just because he'd get lapped, and then the satyrs would start taking a lot of hits on the flanks and die. But
I think if there was more slingers too, like if that was 14 slingers, he would have taken a lot of losses.
Satyrs don't have helmets.
yeah, I mean, it was a little bit risky, I guess, but I would have done it because the rewards of being able to double expand right out of the box are pretty significant. And if you lose them, they're just satyrs. Like, who cares?
And here's Gilbert.
Okay, so time to see what the Vanheim Bless is. Mian, you're gonna grab this one. Wait, hold on. There's no
All right.
sacred. Wait,
Those aren't. The
Let's
Vanhears
see.
are closer to the infantry. That's not. You're just clicking on normal L's.
You can click on the commander too. You'd see the bless on that.
oh, there he is. Oh, nice. Okay. Right.
Okay, got attack, magic weapons, poison
Yeah.
resistance, fire resistance, blood surge, larger. Okay.
Why are we seeing so much larger in this game?
Because it's
I
an
understand it on
overplay.
Marverni. I don't know about otherwise. I mean,
It is
it
an
makes sense. It
overpowered
makes sense on the centaurs, but I don't know about this.
This is the exact bless I took in the blitz in Lucid's blitz.
And you
it's
got dumpstered on by a Niflheim, who had been
No, I
in
got-
a 4v1 coalition.
I got destroyed by a single Niflheim guy, and I was rocking before then. I took out Ulm, I took out Lanka, and then a single freaking
None of
Nifl
these were
giant pushed my
1v1s. They were like
entire-
4v1s. Just making sure that we all know this.
I'd
But
just
either
like to
way,
point
I mean,
out-
I was doing well. I was
I'd just like-
definitely. What's it?
I just gotta say that if you are Vanheim and you get your shit pushed in by Niflheim, shameful display, dishonor upon your family.
I'm okay with attack skill and magic weapons. And
I will gladly show anybody what killed me, and if you can kill that guy with Vanheim, I will be very happy to give it over. Okay, he was a prophet with obesity, and the one guy pushed my 100-man army. Like it pushed it back into the province, and even then we didn't lose very much, but because we got pushed, there was a bad hit.
I would take this plus.
This bless was amazing. This bless was superior to anything I saw, and yeah, I really liked it.
Okay, but why larger?
Larger is what bothers me.
I'm-
You pay a
I
lot
would
for
just
it.
go
It
fire
is
elemental with
nice in some ways.
You can get it in almost a rainbow.
Yeah, larger is amazingly efficient as far as like bless is concerned, because it depends on what you're taking it on. But like if you take it on a unit that has more than 15 HP and isn't going to suffer total attack density loss from it, it's an amazing bless. The problem is that most things that qualify for that will suffer total attack density loss. So like there's very few exceptions to it, and it would only be on nations that have size 3 units that are not cavalry that could be brought alongside a size 2 unit of comparable speed. So it's really niche, but it's an amazingly efficient as far as bless goes.
See, I mean, I'm with you. Like, I like larger. Like right now, I'm playing a game where I took working really well, but on Von Heers, I would never take larger because specifically that thing you just said. You're losing attack density. The thing that makes Von Heers so good is that you get 6 super high quality attacks per square, and so they just blend whatever's in front of them. If you take larger, yeah, you get a little extra hit points, but you've also cut your attack density by a third. If I'm taking a Nature Bless on Vonheim, it's going to be Barkskin.
Okay, so let's go over what the larger costs. What is the Earth and the Nature cost?
3 nature for Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much does the Earth strength cost?
3.
3
3. So you're already getting that because larger gives you the strength.
plus 3.
So you're already getting 3 Earth for free. How much does the HP cost? It's 1 per nature, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So you're already getting 4 from there. And then the attack density, and then also what's going to do is because you're getting the strength, once you get through the trot, which is what your goal is at the van here, you've got slash damage, which increases your damage more. What else does larger do to you?
It
Lowers your
increases-
defense and
Yeah.
increases your map move.
Okay, so it also gives you more map. So
It
from
also
just from
increases
those,
your supply consumption.
yeah, just from those 2 things right there, you can see that it's already about the same as those 2. It also increases your line, which is another thing that you're kind of worried about as an elf. It extends your line, where instead of having one big block, you're having a wider range, which I'm just fine with. The density is not a big
Well, I would worry about only having 5 poison resists in a game where I believe 3 nations can foul vapors.
that's fair enough.
And
I
only
mean,
having 5 fire resistance means, just like Helheim, this thing dies to fire elementals because they're multiform things. It means you can't one-shot them. So you're going to have to kill each and every form. Vanheim's weapons are only length 1.
So okay, well we'll see if it works. I can tell you from my experiences that it absolutely did work. But yeah, it's gonna be kind of interesting to see.
So
Okay,
I'm not a huge Vanham player, but one thing I do like about larger, and one of the reasons I said I liked it, the last time I used Van Heers, they got trampled to death by Earth Elementals, and less to a square and a bigger size would help versus that. Especially once they Berserk and Blood Surge, they'll be hitting for 30 damage a hit.
Yeah, it's the other thing. The blood surge is really.
The
What's
Blood
it?
Surge is good. Blood Surge is really
I
good. on
wanted
Von
to add a little note about dealing with fire elementals. For a lot of people who may not be unfamiliar, this will help them out a lot. Your fire resistance against fire elementals is really just an extension of your prot. If you have sufficiently high enough prot, you can ignore a lot of fire damage because fire damage is AP damage. So, for instance, Flame Shield or Fire Shield normally ranges from 9 to 12, depending on the thing that you're dealing with. If you have 24 prot, for instance, you're going to be looking at basically 1 or 2 damage every time you swing. So the point being is that 5 fire resistance can be acceptable if you're on a high prot unit. The lower your prot, the more fire resistance you're going to need. But if you know that you're going to be carrying something that has really high protection from various things like Argatha statues that come in with 22, or up to like 20, up to like 27 if you took natural protection on them. You don't need fire resistance.
Is 16 enough?
No.
Not even
no,
close.
16, yeah, 16 is not enough because it's going to be 8 plus your fire
Okay.
resistance. So effectively 13. You will be okay. It's acceptable. It's not what you would want. So you're going to be okay against the flame shield. You're going to be okay against the Heor. You're not going to be okay against the flame strike, the actual melee attack of the fire elemental.
It's
It's
significantly
AoE
better
1.
than not having it, but you will still take damage, is what it is. Because if you don't have any fire resistance, now you can get lit on fire, and you take a lot more damage in practice. So
That's
the
true.
first 5 is very useful, but it's not enough to cover you completely.
So that goes
And
back to
also, you don't have 13 prot on the first hit because you won't be berserk yet. You'll only be taking it with 6 prot plus fire resistance.
I have a question, Balin. You mentioned taking Barkskin. Does Barkskin stack with the prot they get from Berserking?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it does. It stacks
Berserk
perfectly.
adds to any natural prot. It's
So
one of the
this
few
is-
things that stacks amongst natural prot.
Yeah, so that's one big reason why Barkskin specifically is such a good bless for Von Heers, because Von Heers with Barkskin, when they berserk, have prot, I believe it's 23.
Got around that.
So they end up and that's on top of course, the glamour and their, everything else, and their massive attack density. They just become really, really difficult to remove. You have to give them some fire resistance in addition, because Barkskin lowers fire resistance by 5 and can push it negative. So, but if you take fire resistance plus 10, a couple of other elemental rainbow pats, and then Barkskin, you end up with Von Heers that are very difficult to remove.
Okay, guys. Well, that is the last fight for the day, and I think we're gonna end it off on here. I want to thank my co-host for today, Balin. Thanks for showing up.
Joined late, but I was here for the end.
Dude, I think you missed like all of 10 seconds. It was not much. You just missed your introduction. You didn't get to say hi. GC, thanks for joining.
Hey, absolutely.
Okay, Novell, thanks for joining up again.
Yes, sir.
Mian, thank you very much for coming along for the ride.
Yep, see ya.
And Zan, you're the last person that I get to say goodbye to before I go and get coffee.
That's perfect. More coffees are the best.
Okay, guys. Well, I will see you in the next one. Have a